Welcome back, everybody, to day 9 of learning SQL. Every single day, we are learning something new. We're back on the grind. Today, we're going to be talking about check constraints and creating a table. So let's go ahead and work through an example. If we go ahead and create a table named members, and in that table, we'll go ahead and define some columns. The first one will be memID, going to be of the serial data type, going to be our primary key. Then we're going to go ahead and create a first name. And this is going to be a variable character of up to 50 in length. And we're going to say this is not null. Next, we're going to specify an age, which is going to be the small int data type. And here, what we can actually do is we go ahead and create our first constraint, our first check constraint, that is. Now, let's say we want to make sure that when someone inputs their age or into our table, that age is greater than 0. It wouldn't make sense if someone had an age less than 0. So we're going to make a check constraint to make sure that age is greater than 0. The way we can do that is say constraint. Then we go ahead and provide a name, which we'll call check underscore age. And we'll see why this is important in a minute. And then we'll go ahead and say check. And then we can go ahead and figure out what the constraint actually is. So we're going to say age, which is the column, greater than 0. And now lastly, we're going to make one more column here, which is going to be experience. And this is going to be their year's experience. We're going to use small int for this as well. We're going to create another constraint. We're going to call it check experience. And what we're actually going to be checking is that the person's experience is less than their age, because it wouldn't make sense if they had more experience than their age because they haven't been alive that long, right? So we'll just say experience is less than age. Now with this, I'm gonna go ahead and put a space here, and I forgot a couple of commas, or a single comma. So we'll go ahead and run this. Our table has been created successfully. So let's go ahead and insert data into our members table. So if we say insert into members, then we go ahead and specify the columns that we're going to insert the data into. Keep in mind, we don't need to put the memID column because that's of the serial data type. It's automatically going to insert the next available memID. So we're just going to go ahead and say the first name, the age, and the experience years. And then we'll go ahead and put the values that we're going to insert in, which is going to be the name of Max. Max, we'll say, is 30 years old, and he has 2 years of experience. We'll go ahead and run this. You can see that it's successful. And I'm going to copy this because we're going to use this again. But I'm just going to go ahead and select everything from the members table. Run this. As you can see, we got Max's information in there, no problem. MemID 1, Max, age of 30, experience years of 2. So it passed all of the constraints. Well, let's go ahead and test the constraints to make sure that they're working. So let's go ahead and say that we have someone else in here named Dan. And when Dan input his age, he put -5, which doesn't make any sense, but we have that constraint to make sure that the age is greater than 0. So let's go ahead and run this. And as you can see, it gives us an error. We can actually see here that it violates the check constraint check age. So because we named the check constraint, we know exactly which check constraint is being violated because we're able to see the name. And so that's why it's important to name them. If we go ahead and switch Dan's age to 25, but we say that he has 40 years of experience, which once again makes no sense, but we'll go ahead and run it. You can see that the check experience constraint has been violated and it's popping up here. So we know that there's something wrong with the experience column here, or the data that's going into the experience column. But let's go ahead and fix this, and let's just say Dan's 25 with 4 years of experience. We'll go ahead and run it. You can see it went successfully. And now I want to show you something here that's very interesting. We go ahead and run this. As you can see here, when we inserted Dan's new information after it passed the check constraints, which was our last attempt, you can see now here that Dan has a memID of 4. And that is because the 2 failed attempts, number 2 and number 3, that we did actually consumed memID 2 and 3. So when we inserted Dan's information on the 4th attempt, excuse me, the fourth mem ID attempt in the table. The first one was Max. The second two were Dan's failed attempt. And the fourth one was Dan's successful attempt. You can see that it now has mem ID 4. So just keep that in mind. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next video tomorrow, and we're going to continue the grind of learning SQL.